Black Politics, Chapter 4, read by author Rashida Brown. Welcome back for Chapter 4. Excuse me if I slip over my words, I stumble or anything. So let's get into Chapter 4. Mommy, mommy! A loud, dreadful cry wakes Adara from her sleep. Adara jumped from her bed, quickly running down the hall, chasing the sound. Mommy, please make it stop! Shelby cried, tossing and turning in the bed. Adara kneels in front of the bed, gently placing her hands on Shelby's shoulder, rocking her back and forth. Hey, princess, it's okay. You just had a bad dream. Adara pulled the cover back from Shelby, who lay curled up in the bed shivering. She had wet herself, and her blankets were soaked. Am I in trouble? Shelby asked, too afraid to move. Of course not. Why would you be? Adara asked, gently rubbing Shelby's hair. Mommy said I'm too big to be wet in the bed. Please don't tell her. I don't want no spanking, Shelby pleaded, jerking her body forward, gripping Adara's hand. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me, Adara assured her, kissing Shelby on the forehead. Now come on, let's get you cleaned up and change your sheets. Adara grabbed Shelby some hygiene products and started preparing breakfast. She had her morning meditation playing low, getting her day started. After breakfast is served, she wakes up Marcus and Trinity and called everyone to breakfast. So I have some important business to take care of today and won't be back until this afternoon. You're more than welcome to stay here or I can drop all of you off at the hospital until I'm done, Adara says. They all look at each other, shrugging their shoulders. We'll go sit with Mom. I know she wants to see us, Marcus said. Okay, that's fine. Let's finish eating and get dressed. I will drop you off on my way to my meeting. They all finished eating and got dressed and headed out of the door. Adara dropped them off at the hospital. Here is some money for you all when all of you get hungry. I'll be by as soon as I finish up, Adara said, handing Marcus some money. Adara headed to the building on Matthews to meet with the realtor and Amina. Abaddon texted her this morning letting her know he couldn't make it. He got called in for work to fill in for somebody else. He has been picking up extra shifts to support the organization. As Adara pulled up to the building, she sees the realtor unlocking the door, but Amina was nowhere in sight. She got out of the car to greet the realtor and text Amina to see where she was. Amina texted her back, letting her know she will be there soon. Thank you for showing me the building on short notice. I know I called you the last minute, and Adara said, Oh, it's no problem at all. This property has been listed on the market for a while now, and the owner is eager to get it sold, Sarah said. She was a short, slim Caucasian woman with short, sandy brown hair and dark brown eyes. I'm just as eager to buy as he is to sell. I see that he went down on the price, and that helped a lot. I'm just waiting on my friend to get here. She should be arriving here shortly. If you have something else to do, you can go ahead and show me the building, and she can see it when she gets here, Adara said, looking out of the window to see if Amina has arrived. Oh, it's fine. My schedule is clear for the next 2 hours, Sarah replied. Amina finally showed up 20 minutes late, rushing into the building to join Adara. Hello. Sorry I'm late. Hello, so sorry I'm late. Traffic was heavy this morning, and I had to drop my mother off at her appointment. Oh, it's no problem. I got plenty of time, Sarah said. Adara hugged Amina, whispering in her ear. It's okay. Smile, Adara said. So shall we get started? Sarah asked. Yes, ma'am, let's do it, Adara asked. Adara and Amina followed Sarah around the building as she showed them each room and explained to them the details of the building. The building had two large office rooms, a conference room, kitchen, reception area in the front, and ample warehouse space in the back. In addition, it had two bathrooms in a separate parking lot. So the original listing price was 35,000, but the owner dropped the price down to 25,000. He had many interested buyers, but many of them said the price was too steep for a not up to date building and needed some work done. So he agreed to drop the price because he did not want to have to deal with fixing up the property and he just wanted it sold, Sarah said as they all walked towards the front of the building. Amina elbowed Adara. $25,000. Where are we going to get that type of money from? Amina asked. Adara just smiled at Amina and kept walking. So what do you guys think about the building? Sarah asked. I love it, Amina answered. Yes, I do too. It's perfect for what we're trying to do. I love everything about the building and the fact that we have our own space. The fenced area out back and the small storage building area, the small storage building are a bonus for me. Even with the additional repairs we would have to do and the money we would have to spend to fix it up, I still think it's worth it. I also like the fact that everything is not up to date so that we can make this building our own, Adara said. I agree, Amina said. So do you want time to think about it or are you ready to put in your offer? Sarah asked. Adara looked at Sarah and Amina. I'm ready to put in the offer today, Adara responded, showing all her white teeth. Great. Well, let's get started on the paperwork. You can sit here and I'll go get the paperwork out of my car, Sarah said. Adara sat down in the chair with Amina hovering in front of her, with one hand on her hip, tapping her one foot on the ground. So, how are you going to pay for this? Amina questioned. We'll talk about it later. Let's enjoy the moment we finally have an office building for the organization, Adara cried, jumping to her feet and hugging Amina, rocking her body forcefully back and forth. All right, later then, Amina said, smiling at Adara. Sarah walked back in with the paperwork and explained everything to Adara. Adara signed the paperwork and wrote a check out to the owner. Okay, so I spoke to the owner and he said that you could have any equipment left here and throw it away. That way you can move into the building today and not have to worry about waiting on him to get the rest of the things moved out. So if you find anything useful, keep it, and if not, then disregard it, Sarah said, handing Adara her keys. Adara and Amina do another walkthrough of the building, coming up with ideas of what to do. So what do you got planned today after this? Adara asked. I have to go pick up my mom from her appointment and take her around, and then I'm pretty much free the rest of the day, Amina said. Okay, I got one more thing to take care of. Then we need to meet up later today so we can plan this training and recruitment event. I think we should have it here if we can get everything taken care of in 2 days, Adara suggested. I agree. It's way more space, and since this is where we will be meeting now, I think it's a great idea to have it here. We're going to need more help, though, to get everything set up, Amina said, looking around the building that had trash and dusty equipment everywhere. Okay, well, I'll text you when I'm done. We can meet up in my place, Adara said. Sound good, Amina replied. They hugged each other and started on their way. Adara made a quick call to Miss Jones to let her know she would be there soon. Adara texted Abaddon asking him to come over later and then headed into the hospital. She headed up to the third floor to the waiting room. She texted Miss Jones to let her know she's outside. Miss Jones came out of the ICU a few moments later and met with Adara. Adara got up from her seat to greet Miss Jones. She hugged Miss Jones and they both took a seat. It's nice to meet you finally, Miss Jones. You and your family have been on my mind heavy. When I first heard about what happened, I was distraught. But at the same time, as messed up as it might sound, I felt like it's a repeated cycle, and this corrupt system does exactly what I expect it to do. Miss Jones nodded her head as Adara continued to talk. That's my reason behind starting this organization. As a people, we have been conditioned to accept the harsh reality that our lives, opinions, views, thoughts, and so on don't matter. So we accept whatever breadcrumbs are thrown our way. And I refuse to live in a society where I don't matter, but my money does. What happened to your son was cruel, and I cannot even begin to imagine what you're going through as a mother, to witness your child suffering right before your eyes. I can, however, tell you that your pain is my pain, and when one of us hurt, we all hurt, Adara said, wiping the tears from Miss Jones' face. It has been tough, and I haven't said anything publicly since all of this has happened. I guess I'm just hanging on to the hope that my son will survive this and tell his story himself. You don't see too many stories where a black person is shot by the police and live to tell their side of the story. Instead, all you see is the police department justifying their actions and the media trying to portray the victim as some thug or criminal. I won't let them do that to my boy, Miss Jones said, sobbing loudly, forcing each word to come out of her mouth. I just won't, Miss Jones said. We won't, Adara corrected, squeezing Miss Jones' hands. You're not in this alone. We got your back at our organization, Adara assured. It feels good knowing that somebody out there is willing to fight for my boy like me, Miss Jones said, cleaning her face with with a handkerchief. As I stated before, we're going to do everything within our power to make sure justice is served for both you and your son. So write down your job information and I'll take it from here, Adara said, handing Miss Jones a pen and a notebook. After Miss Jones wrote down her job information, she handed the notebook and pen back to Adara. Adara put it in her bag and hands Miss Jones an envelope. This should be enough money for you to pay your bills and get caught up on everything. If you need anything else, do not hesitate to call me. I got you, Adara said, hugging Miss Jones and headed down to the second floor to visit her mom. She wrote a check out to Miss Jones for $5,000. When Adara's grandparents died, they left her their house and inheritance of $100,000. She has it in a savings account and only uses it in emergencies. She's only allowed to take a certain amount out. If it were up to her, she would use it all to fund the Black Politics Organization. As she walked towards her mother's room, she noticed Marcus sitting in the waiting room in the corner off to himself. She walked over and sat next to him. What's wrong? Why are you out here and not in the room? Adara asked him. Marcus sat down. Marcus sat slumped down in the chair with his black hoodie on his head, playing on his phone. He shrugged his shoulders and continued to play on his phone. Did something happen? It got to be a reason why you're out here, Adara insisted, but Marcus just kept playing on his phone. Finally, Adara snatched the phone out of Marcus' hand, forcing him to look at her. Come on, man, give me my phone back, Marcus protested, sounding like a drunken man slurring over his words. No, man, not until you talk to me, Adara said in the same slurring tone, mocking Marcus. Marcus stared at Adara for a moment, with a nonchalant look on his face, thinking that would change her mind, or she would give him his phone back. But when he saw that it didn't work, he stopped resisting and told her what was bothering him. I'm tired, that's all. I'm tired of having to keep moving and having to depend on everyone else. I don't know how it feels to live in a home that's ours. I'm just tired of having no stability and just want better for the girls and mom, Marcus said. All of that is going to change, trust me. I'm not about to allow any of that to go on anymore. I know you probably got trust issues and I understand, but allow me to show you. I promise you. Things will be better than before, Adara assured, handing Marcus his phone back. Marcus smiled and nodded his head. Did y'all all eat? Did y'all eat already? Adara asked. Yes, we got something from the cafeteria not too long ago, Marcus replied. Okay, well, let me go check on them and then we can leave, Adara said, getting up from the chair. When she reached the room door, she knocked lightly before going in. Hey, it's me, Adara announced as she walked into the room, closing the door behind her. Both girls were sitting in a chair watching TV and her mom was taking meds. Adara stood over by the window until Mary finished taking her meds. How's everything going? Adara asked the nurse. She's doing much better and she will be getting out of here in a day or two, the nurse replied, giving Mary her last pill. That's great to hear. I know you're ready to get out of here, Adara said, looking at Mary. I sure am, Mary answered, smiling at Adara. So did they ever figure out what the problem was? Adara asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. I was extremely dehydrated and my blood pressure was too high. So the doctors wanted to monitor me for a few days to get the fluids I need and get my blood pressure under control. Then the doctor said I should be discharged sometime Wednesday. Good. I'm glad to hear you're doing better. You have got to take better care of yourself. They need you, Adara said, looking at the girls who were paying them no mind. I need you, Adara added, looking away, playing with her nails. I know, baby, I know, Mary said, rubbing Adara's hand. Do you need anything before I go? I'm going to get them home and then take care of some work stuff. No, I just need you to bring me some clothes up here when you pick me up Wednesday, Mary said. Okay, just call me when you're ready and I'll be here, Adara said, getting up from the bed. Just when she was about to walk away, Mary grabbed her hand. I appreciate you. I want you to know that, Mary said. Adara smiled and kissed Mary's hands. I know, Adara replied. She and the girls said their goodbyes and headed out the room. They stopped by the waiting room to get Marcus, but he was not in sight. Adara called his phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Do you girls know where he could be? Adara asked. He might be at one of his friends' house. He might be with one of his friends, Trinity asked. Do you know where they live? Adara asked. Both girls shrugged their shoulders, shaking their heads back and forth. He always does this. He will come home later, Trinity said. All right, let's head home, Adara said. She sent Marcus a message telling him to call her and drove off. She checked every room when she got home to see if Marcus was there, but he was not. The end of chapter 4.